All right, everybody. Hello and happy Sunday. I hope you guys have had a great weekend so far. I'm wave meteorologist Jessica Dobson here, and I have a feeling there will be lots of questions by the time this video is all said and done with. So if you have any questions about our setup as we head into tomorrow, obviously you can leave a comment and I will do my best to get to all of them. I want to go ahead and start off by saying we don't have a blockbuster of a snowstorm ahead of us, but we do have some impactful weather. It doesn't take much for us to see some crashes and accidents when it comes to weather around here, when it comes to even just small amounts of snow. And this is the first one of the season, and people are traveling, and it's on a Monday. So that's why we just want to make sure everyone's being especially cautious that we haven't issued an alert day. We're not quite meeting criteria, but if we think that that's necessary by tomorrow or even by later tonight, we'll do that. But so far, so good. Okay, but let's go ahead. I do want to show you outside. I always start with a live view outside as people are hopping on. Again, we're going to be talking about tomorrow's snow showers, the chances of some snow squalls. I'll talk about what those are, the impacts that we could see from some of these snow showers. But here's a live view. This is from our Paristown SkyTrack camera. I just always like to start on a positive note if I can. And this is a view from our Paristown SkyTrack camera where we can see lots of people out down in Paristown enjoying the ice skating rink as they should. But we saw some rain last night and it's cleared out. We'll take a wider view if it looks like my graphics might have frozen a little bit. That's okay. But if you're watching and you have questions, feel free to ask them. I'll do my best to get to everyone's questions. Oh no, my graphics are frozen. There we go. And if you're watching, just feel free to leave a comment if you just want a little shout out. I like to do that too. But you can see the large system that's kind of stolen a lot of the weather headlines is still working off to the coast of the Carolinas. And there have been a couple of tornado warnings. There's been a lot of flooding. You've probably seen in Charleston. They had just extensive flooding, even though, I mean, Charleston floods pretty badly as it is, even with just a little bit of rain. Temperatures have cooled off pretty significantly since earlier today. We did make it to a high of around 54 degrees. So we've cooled off about 10 degrees, but we'll continue to cool off as we head into tonight. We'll dip down into the 30s. All right, here's the good stuff. If you are here about the snow tomorrow, as I'm sure so many of you guys are, there's a lot of you guys actually on tonight. But we have a winter weather advisory. So it's important to know what county you're in because this is our, the counties in purple, I should say. This is where we have that winter weather advisory in place. Pretty much areas along and east of I-65 with the exception of Floyd County and then north of the parkways. So just north of the Bluegrass and Western Kentucky parkways and east of I-65. That's kind of the threshold. And we also don't have Jackson or Jennings counties included in that, but they are a part of a different weather service office. And they are in the Indianapolis Weather Service Office area. So that's why they have different parameters when it comes to issuing these kinds of things. So these are the areas where we have the best chances of seeing, some decent impacts from these snow showers tomorrow. These snow chances will really begin to pick up, especially by late morning. I do think during the morning hours, we're going to be pretty dry. This will likely start off for some of us as some rain that will transition to snow, which isn't necessarily ideal for those road crews who are trying to get the roads treated and taken care of, because a lot of times that can wash away the brine and the salt. We don't love that. But I will say not all of us will see that take place. So hopefully wherever the roads are treated, it'll hopefully stick and the rain won't wash it away, because I think we have a better chance of just seeing some plain old snow in a few spots. But we'll see a peak of those snow showers sometime around midday to the early afternoon. It is going to be several factors that come into play with this system tomorrow. And these kind of numbers will probably fluctuate a little bit before the day is all said and done with. I've been kind of trying to look over some of the data as it comes in, especially with the high resolution models we have. But here's essentially just kind of a broad brush of a general timing of when to expect what. So during the 8 o'clock hour to about midday, That's when we'll start off the day mostly dry. It's about 10 a.m. We start to see a lot of the snow showers push into the area from the north and west, and they will do so in a very quick fashion. The snow showers, again, will begin late morning, and then by about noon to 4 o'clock, and you could arguably say 5 p.m. too. Well, that's when we'll start to see those wind gusts up to 30 to 40 miles per hour. And here's why this is a big factor, because when you have wind gusts up to 30 and 40 miles per hour when it's snowing, a lot of that snow is not going to be reaching the ground or sticking to anything. It won't have a chance to, because it's going to be too busy blowing around in the air. So that is why you want to make sure tomorrow you're being very cautious. Even if the roads aren't slick, we'll have a significant amount of reduced visibility under what we call snow squalls. And these snow squalls are, you probably have heard us talk about in the past, storm squalls. And it's kind of a similar idea, but essentially it's where we have some very powerful winds and intense snowfall rates. So a lot of snow happening all at once. And the problem with our situation tomorrow, the roads, the temperatures will be above freezing in terms of the roadway temperatures. It's the fact that the snow will be falling so fast, it won't be melting fast enough in order for there not to be slick spots. So there will be likely some slick spots too. Snow bursts, essentially kind of the same idea, just some pockets, some quick hitting snow that falls really fast over a short span of time. And when you have the winds, again, that doesn't do us any favors. And then when you add that onto an afternoon commute where we already have problems, even when it's bone dry around here, yeah, that is not ideal. I've already seen some comments from Sammy saying, "That's funny, you act like this is some real winter event, move to Colorado." Right. The thing is about Louisville, though, there have actually been a lot of studies done. I know one in particular from a meteorologist who used to be the WCM here in Louisville at the National Weather Service. He now works as the warning coordinator meteorologist in St. Louis. He did a study that showed we had more crashes when the snow was around half of an inch in terms of accumulation than we did when we had a major blockbuster snow. So that kind of speaks for itself. I said Wednesday. I'm so sorry. It does say Wednesday, doesn't it? I'll go ahead and fix that. But regardless, the reason why that is when we have more crashes with those small snow amounts, less than 2 inch or less than 1 inch, is because people aren't as careful. They think they don't have to drive as slowly. They're like, oh, it's nothing. Kind of the idea of, oh, it's not Colorado where they pick up inches of snow. No. It doesn't take much around here. We are not also quite used to seeing, most of us, especially our first snow of the season. We're just not quite used to that. And that's okay. But as long as we are fully aware of that, that's the important part. So Sammy Terry, I hope that helps to put this into perspective, I guess, to say nicely. That is why they issued this winter weather advisory, just because the National Weather Service specifically said the societal impacts with the afternoon commute. So just watch it unfold tomorrow and you'll see what we mean. And Ashley Nicole says, I drive like such a snail, man. It irritates people, but she put the shrugging emoji. Shonda Schaffner, says, snow squalls ain't no joke. You're right. But yeah, it's just, you just want to make sure you're being careful, because things can escalate very quickly if you're not, taking things slow, and you don't want to get yourself in a bad situation of where, you can't see the slick spot because they're happening so quickly. So just be really careful. We did have, I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before. I think it was my first winter back home. We did have some snow squall warnings in Louisville. And I just remember looking at the cameras and you couldn't see a thing. You could not see a thing. And we're talking like whiteout conditions. The snow does not have to be sticking for that to happen. So it's, again, about those intense snowfall rates. So hopefully I've gone on my rant long enough. But I'll go through the timeline a little bit more. And so for the afternoon and evening hours, it looks like we'll still have some reduced visibility. The snow showers won't be quite as widespread, but we'll still have the potential of some of those snow bursts and snow squalls. And slick spots and slowdowns are going to be likely for the evening commute, especially for those areas that are caught underneath some of those pockets of the snow squalls or snowbursts. So again, it's not going to be like a ton of inches of snow, but it's going to be a situation where it doesn't take much snow to create some pretty decent impacts for us. So I'll show you a couple of our high resolution models like I always do. I'd like to show you guys the plethora we have to choose from and that we kind of look at when it comes to the data. This is the in-house model that we call the graph. And this shows 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And this has really, really, really been backing off in terms of who sees the snow. It keeps it well to our northeast, which would be awesome. But not all of the models are saying that. So we look for consistency and the overall trends. We look for consistency, the overall trends when it comes to the models and what they're showing, because certain models update every couple of hours. Some of them update every hour, regardless. So this model in particular keeps us pretty tame, which would be awesome, right? But we have to keep in mind that there are others that don't say the same thing. So we're going to wait for this to load, and I'll show you what I mean by that. This is the ARRR, which is the high resolution rapid refresh, which essentially updates about every hour or so. And you'll see this is by about 9 a.m. This is by about 10:30. Again, this is not the gospel. This is not verbatim exactly what the radar will look like. We're just kind of looking at the trends. And where you see some of those darker shades of blues, that's where we could see some of those pockets of heavier snow showers that try to take place. And when we have those kind of bands, that's where we can see those snow squalls. So you just have to be really careful. And it can happen very briefly, but it doesn't take a lot for us to have some problems. So this is by about 3, 4, 5 p.m. It looks like it tries to get it out of here a little earlier. And I've noticed that too. And again, when accumulations are not the primary focus of this forecast, it is the impacts. The impacts are what really is going to create some problems for us. I mean, most of us probably will only get, if anything, a trace amount, maybe a dusting. But again, it is not going to be anything that's substantial. You're not going to be able to make a snowman out of this. I think at best, we might see like a little less than half of an inch for some spots, but I think that's probably a better possibility closer to the bluegrass area of Kentucky. That's closer to Lexington, a little north of Lexington too. So that is this is one of the models that we've kind of been leaning a little more towards, and does show some flurries tomorrow evening, but those shouldn't be causing us too many problems. So yeah, that's the general consensus for the most part. We do have one more model I'm going to punch up for you guys to show you. And we'll have to watch. I will say that the fact that we have gusty winds too will help to keep the roads pretty dry because temperatures are going to just be plummeting as we head into the afternoon and evening hours. Temperatures will actually fall pretty much all day long. So we won't see much of a warm up at all. Temperatures will just decline and decrease. Okay, so here's one more model to show you guys. And again, I'll try to do my best to answer everyone's questions. I'll go through everything and then kind of circle back in case anyone missed anything. I can go over whatever you need to. Rita says, do I need to cancel my plans tomorrow afternoon then? Depends on what your plans are and how far you have to drive, where you have to drive. Just be really careful. I'm probably not going to leave my house if I don't have to, but that's just my personal preference. I don't like driving in the snow. I don't like watching other people drive in the snow. I am more nervous about other drivers than I am myself, but that's kind of a personal preference. But okay, this is the NAM, which can be very hit and miss for us, to say the least. But it does show a bit of that transition from any sort of rain to snow. It brings it a little more widespread. Yeah, the NAM tends to go a little overboard sometimes, and that is kind of the case here. But you'll see that it sticks around through about 4 or 5 p.m. Again, that's kind of the general timing that we're seeing kind of repeated. With snowfall amounts, I'll show a couple of these maps just because we've had a lot of questions about how much is Louisville getting, how much is E-Town getting, Carrollton. So let's see. stand by. Okay. This is what I had pulled up earlier, and I was just looking at a few things. So, oops. Yeah, we're talking like trace amounts, less than half of an inch, as we mentioned. So you'll see some darker shades of blue further to the north and east, closer to Ohio, Indianapolis, central Ohio, maybe Columbus, not us. Okay. And I know it says 0 for Louisville, but these are what we call raw. This is what we call raw data, raw numbers. And essentially that just means you can't take this verbatim. Again, we look at the general trends. So just wanted to throw that out there. That's just one model also. But okay, we also do have the gusty winds, right? The wind chill tomorrow is going to be brutal. It is going to be windy. If you are outside when it's snowing, the snow is going to sting because it's going to hurt your face. Temperatures will, again, hover right around the upper 30s and then start to dwindle and tumble away into the low 30s. And you'll see that wind chill will become a bit of a factor. Well, really, it's going to be a factor pretty much all day tomorrow. So that's what we can expect in terms of the wind chill compared to the temperature. These are some of the wind speeds we might be clocking, anywhere from about 30 to 40 miles per hour. That's what we've been mentioning and saying pretty much over the last couple of days. And I still think that's going to be pretty true. Sustained winds could be as high as around 20 to, I would say about 20 miles per hour at times tomorrow. So it's just going to be really cold. And then Tuesday morning, I already see a question about Tuesday. All right, this is Tuesday morning. If you have any kids that go to the bus stop, or if you are just like me and hate walking outside to a cold car, yeah, this is what we're going to be dealing with. Okay, I don't know why Louisville says 4-degree wind chill. That's not correct. Again, these are some of the raw numbers, but we'll likely see wind chills on Tuesday morning, somewhere in the low teens to maybe a few spots near the single digits. And that's what you see the blue circles there. And we have those white numbers. Those will be our actual air temperatures, those low temperatures. And the low temperature, I know it can sound kind of confusing when we say overnight, or most people think it happens while we're sleeping. But in fact, it usually happens just before sunrise when we see those low temperatures. Unless we have a kind of a weird setup, which does happen sometimes, but not really in this case. Okay, let's look at some of your all's questions. Wow, there's so many of you guys. Ashley says the weather is bipolar. I mean, this is the Ohio Valley, so let's see. Are we going to have a white Christmas? Is what I think Lynn Jansen is saying. White Christmas? Probably not. It's looking like a wet Christmas. Wet is close. Dean says a fourth of an inch of snow gets me excited. Other people are saying bring the snow. Let's see. Hello to Jeff. A little shout out for you. Cameron says, what are we looking at towards winter in January through March? That's a loaded question. Well, it's gonna be. I think that's a better Brian Good question. He has been looking at. I can't answer that with full confidence because I have not looked at as much information and data as he has. But he can. He'll be on here. I think he works tomorrow. So if he's here tomorrow for Snow Talk, then that's a good question to ask him. Hello to DJ King watching from Jennings County. Hello to you, Shonda. I've already answered one of your questions from Jeffersonville. You're a regular. Ashley says, so I don't drive when this happens, but I'll be out for school. It's hard and impossible to see anything. Hardin County, not so much. You could see some snow showers. You'll still see gusty winds, but the better impacts will be east of I-65. We have Bryce watching, or at least we did. Gary Gator Mason says, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. I can't say I agree with that sentiment, but it will be pretty to look at. Let's see. E-Town, another question about Hardin County there. Small chance of a snow shower or two there, but again, the worst of the impacts will be closer to east of I-65. Let's see. Terry Brown asked a good question. Says, so this is for parts of Kentucky, but Indiana is in the clear. Not necessarily. This does include Indiana as well. We just have a few more questions about Kentucky, but this does include a few counties in southern Indiana, along and east of I-65. So that does include Clark, but also Floyd County has been included in that. Jefferson County in Indiana, Scott County, I think, is another one that's been included. Doug says, I hope it doesn't get too bad around 2 o'clock when I get off work. Oh, just be careful. Hopefully you don't have too long of a drive. Let's see. So DJ King also asked a good question too. So the farther north you go, the more of a chance you have to see snow. Like Jennings County, not necessarily. It's more of a northeasterly direction, an area that has a better chance of seeing some of these snow showers. But sorry, I'm trying to read all of your all's comments and process things. But I do think, though, in parts of Jackson and Jennings County, you're not included under the winter weather advisory. That could change, but again, there's different parameters for the National Weather Service office in Indianapolis, and that's what the Jackson and Jennings counties, that's what area they fall under. Gary says, Carrollton, yeah, you guys are under the winter weather advisory. You guys have a pretty decent chance of seeing some of these snow squalls and snow bursts at times. Again, it's not going to be completely all day widespread, but it's going to be very hit and miss. Let's see. Oh, right. Listen, y'all need to listen to Shonda. She knows what she's talking about. She could do my job for me. Says, when that snow comes down so fast, an inch can seem like a foot. That's so true. It doesn't even have to be an inch. Around here, it just can get real messy real fast. Alyssa asks, what about Louisville? How much are we getting? Again, it's not about how much we're getting. I know that's always like the question everybody wants, or the answer to is how much snow are we going to get? It's not necessarily about the amounts. You're not going to be able to make a snowman out of the snow. I would be very, 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 very surprised if that happened, but I don't think it will. It's going to be about the impacts and how quickly it comes down over a short period of time. The ground's going to be a little too warm for anything to stick. Elevated surfaces, maybe some bushes, trees, things like that. That's what I always think of with this kind of snow. It'll be pretty to look at because it's going to be so windy. It's going to look like a little snow globe that you just shook up. Hello to Mitchell Warren. Let's see. Wondering how the Northwest Burr. Okay. What does Tuesday look like? Hopefully I answered your question, James Miller. Tuesday's going to be cold and sunny. So there you go. I think I answered the Harrison County question about snow bursts. You guys have a smaller chance. You could still see some snow showers, but a much smaller chance of maybe some of those snow squalls and snow bursts. So Derek says flying in from Atlanta around 8 p.m. You should be in okay shape. I think a lot of the activity is going to be all said and done by then. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. Let's see. Buses tomorrow morning, Floyd County, you guys will be fine. Again, it's not until about 10 a.m. that we start to see things kind of deteriorate with the more of the snow that's going to be moving in. Oh, Jamie says, already a big mess over here in New Albany with the bridge closed. I can't imagine how it's going to be. I know it's a real bummer that the timing of this is on a Monday when so many people are traveling for the holidays. Let's see. For the afternoon commute, that is going to be the one that we have to watch out for and be really, really careful about to answer. I hope I answered your question, Nisha Thornton. Excuse me. When I get to talking a long time, I start to cough. Okay, that's my sign that I'm going to try to wrap this up. I'll show you the outlook for Christmas Day. Mid-50s. We're looking at some scattered showers. White Christmas. Not going to happen, unfortunately. Here's the 10-day. You'll see tomorrow a 40% chance of snow. It is going to be quite windy. Keep that in mind. For Tuesday, it's going to be cold. it was just going to be cold, bottom line. Sorry, I'm trying to read your all's comments too. Shonda says, we know Brian likes the snow. Kevin and Ryan seem to like those tornadoes. I don't know if they like them, but I think they are pretty good experts at forecasting them and chasing them and whatnot. I do like, I enjoy, I guess, covering the severe weather. I don't like when people are impacted by it though. So I like summer. I like when it's warm and I can go to the pool. That's always nice. But okay, this is what we have set up for us. Winter begins on Thursday. It's going to be 52 degrees. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to wrap this up. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, we'll likely have some showers nearby. It's going to be pretty mild at this point. And then we'll stay in the 50s, kind of above average there for a long stretch. But otherwise, hopefully I answered everyone's questions. I can't answer really any questions about early dismissals or anything like that. That's going to be totally up to the school districts and what they see fit. But hopefully they're careful. And they've got some pros, so they should be good. But alrighty, I'm going to stop rambling now. Hopefully I answered everyone's questions. Wow, we're on here almost 30 minutes. Holy cow. All right, well, I need to eat some dinner. Hopefully you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. Stay safe tomorrow. Stay warm. We will, of course, keep you covered with anything that might transpire. For tomorrow, we'll have plenty of coverage for you guys. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you back here tonight after Sunday Night Football, which usually is around 11:30, 11:45, and we'll go on until about 12:30, so after midnight. So if you don't see us right away, just wait a couple minutes and we'll probably pop on. But okay, everybody take care. See you later tonight.